flesh. I cut my teeth on wedding rings in the movies, and I'm not proud of my address. In a torn up town, no postcode envy.
What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Maximilian Must Know. This is an episode where I'm going to shine some light on indie house. I've done this quite a few times now with Imaginary Authors, 4160 Tuesdays, Juniper Ridge, Le Cherche Midi. And it's important to give some smaller houses some love. And why I picked this house called Sebastiane is because the owner and perfume, Robert Elder, is very active on Facebook groups. I didn't know him, but I came to know him when he had a bit of a bad experience with someone else in the group who didn't come through on what they were supposed to. It's no secret that reviewers like myself like getting free samples and or bottles. But if that happens, usually you want to have an understanding with whomever is giving you those items, be it a house or a marketing person. And a deal fell through. Robert felt screwed over, and I said, listen, man, send me some samples. I'll do a video for you. I wanted to take the blight off of the community, and he did send me samples of the 5 fragrances he has so far composed for public release. And this is a true indie house. Robert makes these fragrances in Pennsylvania. He's a fragrance fanatic like me, very heavily inspired by Chanel. That's his favorite house. Number 5 is his favorite fragrance of all time. He said he wants the theme song for his house to be Royal by Lord, which is why you heard that intro music in the beginning. Now, if you're interested in buying any of Robert's scents, you can do so on Indie Scents. Indie Scents, you guys might not know, was sold a couple years ago and is now based in Canada. And again, the house name is Sebastiane, and these come in 2-ounce bottles for a very fair $85. You can also buy a sample pack of all 5 fragrances for $21. Now, for the purpose of brevity, I'm going to talk about 3 fragrances from the house that really resonated with me in order. I found them all to be well made and crafted with high-end materials, but let's talk about 3 and start off with the one that probably has received the most fanfare. It's called Espresso Royale. And Robert got the idea for this by ordering double shot lattes and adding Monin hazelnut and caramel syrups. And wow, if you guys want a real coffee scent, a real one, you know, one that just wipes the floor with New Harlem, pure coffee, and intense cafe, this is that scent. I mean, this is whoa. And to me, when I get out of this, it's just a fresh brewed espresso at the top with some sugar cane. And as it dries down, it gets sweeter, almost like a coffee cake or pastry. The notes on this one are rum at the top, coffee, hazelnut, and caramel in the middle, and tonka bean in the base. And this one in the future is one that I do plan on picking up and doing a full review on, because this in the fall and winter is as good as gourmand fragrances can get. I don't really get the booziness of the rum, but the caramel is there, and so is the hazelnut. If you love that smell of a good coffee bar, not Starbucks, but like a small neighborhood place that pulls real espresso, then you need to get your nose on this one. To say I'm impressed by this isn't going far enough. I would say in terms of what I've gotten my nose on, this is a top 10 gourmand scent. Really simple, really authentic, and just excellent performance on that one. Okay, next up I want to talk to you guys about another one of Robert's scents called Urban Legend. And this is one of the most unique scents that I've ever come across. Top note on this one is orange blossom, middle is vanilla and ginger, and the base is tonka bean. And Robert told me that there's also a boozy sort of wine dried fruit note on this that isn't listed on Fragrantica. And this one really challenged my nose at first. You know, I put it on my skin and I was like, what am I smelling here? Something that I really can't put my finger on at the top, almost like a really high proof eau de vie. And eau de vie are alcoholic spirits distilled from fruit. So you could have like a cherry or an apricot eau de vie, and you're going to get the alcohol smell when you smell an eau de vie, but there's also a touch of fruit that the alcohol came from. And you've really got to give this one some time, because you've got to let it open up more. The opening could be described as a little harsh, but it gets really, really good after just a couple minutes. You start to pick up like a warm vanilla and gingerbread accord, with just the slightest hint of orange blossom, and with the orange blossom with the vanilla sort of gives off some marshmallow vibe. It's a really warming sweet scent, and just perfect the way it transforms from that opening to this mellow unisex fragrance. It's spectacular and it's very unique. There's a bit of anise here as well, and this is complex enough to wear in the cold, but also light and pleasant enough to wear in warm weather. I think of the bunch, Royal Espresso is probably going to generate the most universal appeal, but that my favorite composition, and I think the one that shows all the talent that Robert has, is this beauty right here, Urban Legend. It's really an exquisite fragrance. And the final one, the third one that I want to talk about very briefly, is called Immortal Meadow. And the notes on Immortal Meadow are violet, blackberry, and iris at the top, patchouli, cedarwood, Virginia vetiver, and fresh cut grass in the middle, and benzoin, leather, and vanilla in the base. And I want to talk about this one because what Enchanted Forest by Vagabond Prince did for Black Currant is what this should do for Blackberry, because the top of this is as realistic as a fruit note as you're ever going to find in a fragrance. It is just uncanny how you almost get the fuzziness. You can almost smell the fuzziness that blackberries have, and that tart juiciness which is reproduced so photorealistically here. You know, this is a really quite a brilliant scent from this house. There's also a green grass note in here that works as well. So for outdoor lovers, you have to get your nose on this, as this is another one that I'd love to do a full review on, wear it for a couple of weeks, and really give you the lowdown on this guy. The blackberry and grass on a warm spring or summer day is just going to kill. And trust me, Fraycom, when you get your hands on this one, you're going to see why this one gets a lot of love. You know, I think my takeaway from these fragrances is that there's a lot of talent in this house. Robert clearly knows what he's doing, and he's not afraid to experiment and make different scents, but make different scents that are all of the highest quality, and that they perform. You know, like, I think that's really important to the house, is the performance of these fragrances, because, you know, there's a lot of fragrances out there that smell good. We all know that, especially in the indie world, where people are very concerned about their product and the authenticity of their product. But it's more rare, I would say, for these fragrances to really all perform well and be worth the money. So I think the one thing that I've really come away with from my experience with Sebastiane and Robert's fragrances is that they perform excellently. They're all different. You know, you might not love all of them. You know, it's just the way it is. You know, if a house has 20, 30 fragrances, you're not going to like every single one of them. But I think you'll, at the very least, you want to find everything that a house does interesting. You know, you want to think, oh, these are interesting scents, and you want to be anticipating the next fragrance that comes out from the house because you're interested in what they're doing. And I think that's clearly the case here with what Robert's done with his house. All of these fragrances are unbelievably interesting. All of them are of a very high quality, and a lot of them, or the 5 that he sent me, you know, 4 of them would easily be ones that I would wear, and all of them are interesting to me. And as I said, you know, Royal Espresso to me is one of the best gourmands I've ever got my nose on, and Immortal Meadow is one of the best freshies I've ever gotten my nose on. So hats off to Robert. And as I said, hopefully we'll do some full reviews on these guys in the future. Anyway, that has been this week's episode of Maximilian Must Know. I'm going to link in the description to the Indie Scents page where you can find Robert's scents, and please feel free to email me if you have any questions at maxmknow@gmail.com. I'll talk to you guys real soon. Please make sure to check out Sebastiane's scents, and that's it. I'm Maximilian.
Bloodstains, ball gowns, trash in the hotel room. We don't care.